turn off part 5. That's what we created last time. Let's create part 6. I'm actually going to create 2 parts from this, but let's go ahead and start with the top plane. Left click on sketch, left click top plane, left click center point circle, hover over the center of the plane, then left click and then drag that out. Hit escape to deactivate the center point circle tool. Come up, select or left click the dimension tool, left click on the diameter of the circle we just created, drag that away, left click, and we're going to go 0.73. Again, making this smaller than the real world tube we're actually going to use. It's going to be 0.75, so it'll be 3. On the check mark to close out that sketch, left click, let's go over here to front plane. I'm going to move this over slightly because we're going to come up and then come across. Left click on the sketch, left click on the front plane, left click on the line tool, come down, hover over the center of the front plane until you see that highlighted area. Left click, drag that up, left click, drag it over, left click, and then drag that down again. And you notice that dotted line appears. So now we know we are even with our start position on this other line. Drag that away, hit escape to deactivate the line tool. Come up, left click on the dimension tool, left click here, drag that over. We're going to go 3 inches, hit enter. I'm going to scroll out with the wheel, left click here, left click again, hit 15, and then left click on this line just to be sure it's also 3 inches, which it is, so we don't have to change it. All right, now let's go up, left click on the sketch fillet tool, left click here on that first line, left click on the center line or the second line that we created, double click inside and change that to 1 inch on radius of the bend. I'm going to drag that out just so we can see that that is radius of the bend. We're going to do the same thing over here. Select this line, then the last one we created, it's automatically at an R of 1 or 1 inch. And that's what we wanted for that first drawing. Click the check mark. I'm going to go to isometric view just to kind of look at this from a different perspective. Let's go up to our tools, left click on sweep, left click on the circle we created, come over to swept path or sweep path, left click on that until it turns blue, come down, select the first line, select that first bend, this line here, the other line or the other bend, and then left click there. So it should be solid, new, and all of those areas that we selected. Hit the check mark, close that out, go back to front view. There's our part. We're actually going to split this in half. So left click on sketch, come over, left click on the front plane, left click on the line tool. I'm going to start here. We're going to go over, left click, draw that up, left click again. Doesn't matter how long that is, as long as it is perpendicular to the part we just created. We want it to cut through that part. Now I'm going to pull away and hit escape to deactivate the line tool. I'm going to close that sketch. I'm going to go back to isometric view. I'm going to go to extrude. I'm going to go to surface instead of solid. So this whole time when we used extrude, we've been using solid and then remove. Now we're going to go surface, and we're going to select the surface. So what part do we want to extrude? We're going to go that line that we just created, Notice how it makes a plane. Now we're going to go symmetric so that we make sure it cuts through the part that we want it to cut through. And this is 3/4 of an inch, so 1 inch will do. We don't have to change the depth. And then we close that out. Now we're going to go up and use a new tool, which is split. Left click on that. And it's asking to split. We want that one to split, and with what surface? We want this to split it. Notice how that went clear? That's telling us that we're using that plane to split this part. Now here's something we didn't do. I'm going to go back just to show you. We're going to go back into Sketch. I'm going to open this up. So if this happens to you, you'll know how to go back. When we created this sketch, we need it to be halfway in between. So I'm going to go to the Dimension tool. I'm going to select this line. I'm going to come over. I'm going to select this area of the plane. And we were close, just eyeballing it. Left click again. We want 7.5. So even after you've created a part, you can come back and change it. It's not set in stone. In fact, to get the angles in the last part we created, I had to do that quite a bit. I had to actually do it in assembly view. I created the part first, brought it into assembly, realized my angles were wrong, and adjusted it. Transform tool. This is not required. You do not have to do this. So I'm going to left click on Transform. Where it says Translate by Line, I'm going to left click. I'm going to go X, Y, and Z. I'm going to come over. I'm going to select this part here. I'm going to select this arrow. I'm going to drag that over just slightly, not much. And it doesn't have to be an exact amount. And then I'm going to close that. When we look at those two, we can tell that they're two separate parts. Now let's go down. Let's right click on part 6. And let's go rename. And this is going to be the top harness tube 1. Same name except top harness tube 2. So that'll be useful when we get to assembly view. All right, right click. Let's go to edit appearance. Let's change this to silver. Close that out and do the same for this one. Edit appearance, silver, close that out. All right, let's turn those two parts off. Navigation, cube, select top view, go over, select sketch, select top view again, select the center point circle tool, hover over the center, drag that out. Come over to the dimension tool, drag that away, 0.73. Close that sketch out. Go back to the front plane. Go left click sketch, left click front plane, left click line tool, hover over the center, drag that out. Doesn't matter how long it is right now. Pull that away, hit escape to deactivate the line tool. Then left click on the line, pull that over and go 22 inches. Close that sketch, scroll out. Let's go to isometric view and left click on the sweep tool, left click on the circle we created, left click on swept path, left click on that line. Now we've created that tube. That's all we need to do. So part 8 is going to be our side spar. So side spars for part 8. Edit appearance, and let's change that to silver like all the other tubes we've created. Top view, sketch, select top view, select center point circle, hover over the center, drag that out, left click on the dimension tool, left click on the diameter of the circle, 0.73. Left click on the check mark to close that out. Let's go back to front view. left click on sketch, left click on front view, left click on the line tool, hover over the center, drag out a line, drag that away, hit escape to deactivate the line tool, and come up to the dimension tool, left click on that, drag that over, left click again. This is going to be 17.75. Let's close that sketch out. Let's go to isometric view. Let's go to sweep. Left click on sweep. Left click on the circle we created. Left click on swept path until it turns blue. Left click on the line. Now we've created that tube. Let's go down to part 9. This is going to be our top spar. We only have one. So rename, right click on part 9 and go up, edit appearance, and change that to silver.